To finish up with my Henry Matisse project, I'm going to go ahead and add the final details. So since my fish don't have any details on them yet, I'm going to go ahead and add those details now. So using a detail brush, meaning that it's a really skinny brush, I'm going to use a little bit of black paint and I'm going to paint the details on here. So barely touching my paper, I'm making these thin lines. And let's see, I could even put some fins here if I wanted to, very carefully. And do the same thing over here. And if you notice, I do not have a lot of paint on my brush. If I had a lot of paint, then it'd be much more difficult to paint those smooth, thin lines. Okay, and then I've got to make the eyes here, so I actually have to put the white on first for that. And then I'll go ahead back a little bit later and add those little black spots for the eyes. Okay, and then while that dries, I'm going to add my apple, because if you remember, Henry Matisse a lot of times had some type of fruit overlapping his fishbowl. So right here, I'm going to be painting a big red apple. So taking a little bit of red here, I'm going to make sure that this time I'm sort of covering part of my fishbowl. And if it's a little bit see-through, you can always come back later and add a second coat of paint. Because remember, sometimes the more you put paint on there, the more it's going to mix with the colors underneath. So you have to be a little bit careful of that. Okay, so that's not too bad. So there's my apple. Then I also need to add a little stem, possibly a leaf. So using a little bit of brown, I'm actually going to make a little U shape here. It's actually more of a line across here so that we see that it sort of dips in a little bit. Then we've got a stem coming up here. Then I can go ahead and add a little bit of green right here. And then just to make it look a little bit shiny, I can take a little bit of white to add a shine mark to my apple, like that. It just sort of makes it come out a little bit more, become a little bit more three-dimensional. Now there's two more things I want to add. I'm just going to put a little black dot for the eye right there and one right here, okay? And then if you have a little bit of extra time, you could even put a little shadow underneath of your apple. And the way that you would do that is right here next to where the fishbowl is. A shadow won't overlap it. I'm going to do a sideways oval like this. It shouldn't be around like a circle. It should just come sort of out to the sides and then come this way. So it's sort of like a squished oval. And then you have a nice little shadow underneath to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional, and you're done.